Welcome to NFL Nexus, where we dive deep into the stories that are really shaking up the league. And folks, we have a big one today. A truly massive piece of news just hit that could completely change the balance of power in the NFC East. After a season that, let's be honest, most Giants fans wish they could just erase from memory, the team has made a move that screams, we're done messing around. They've hired the legendary coach John Harbaugh. Now, this is so much more than just a coaching change. This is a statement. It's a signal to the entire NFL that the days of mediocrity in New York are over. And believe me, this decision has sent a shockwave through that entire organization, from the very top all the way down to the guys in the locker room. So, to really get a feel for the impact of this hire, we're not going to start with the official, polished press releases. No. We're not going to look at the carefully crafted statements from the front office. We're going right to the source. We're going to the raw, unfiltered gut reaction from inside the Giants' own locker room. You know, sometimes a single post on social media can tell you a whole lot more than a dozen press conferences ever could. And this one, it perfectly captures the lightning in a bottle hope that this hire has instantly sparked. And there it is. Bam. Blunt, powerful, and it gets right to the point, doesn't it? Just moments after the news officially broke, rookie running back Cam Skattebo throws up the team's announcement on his social media, and he adds his own three-word caption, "New effing era." This is not just a player being kind of happy about the new coach. Think about it. This is the gut punch of a reaction from a young guy who was in the trenches, who lived through the absolute frustration of this past season. Skattebo's post tells you everything you need to know. This hire has immediately pumped life and belief back into a locker room that was just desperate for it. It's a sign that the players themselves know a seismic shift is happening.
Okay, but why? Why does one player's tweet actually matter so much? Why does this hire feel less like a simple personnel move and more like, I don't know, a franchise exorcism? Well, to really understand the hope for what's coming, you first have to understand the absolute despair of what just happened. This massive organizational change didn't just come out of nowhere. It was born from sheer desperate necessity after a season that was, and I'm putting this lightly, a complete and total dumpster fire. To get the excitement, you got to understand the pain. Man, the 2025 season was just a recurring nightmare for New York. It felt like every single week it was the same story. Missed assignments, brutal, drive-killing penalties that always seemed to happen at the worst possible moment, and an offense that just couldn't find a spark, couldn't find any rhythm, any identity whatsoever. The team didn't just look bad on the scoreboard, they often looked lost. They looked unprepared, undisciplined, really the exact opposite of what you think of when you think of the historic Giants brand. This wasn't just a down year, you know. It felt like a total collapse, a huge step backward that made it crystal clear that a fundamental change at the top wasn't just a good idea, it was absolutely critical for the franchise's survival. 4-13. Just let that sink in. 4 wins, 13 losses. That single number tells the entire ugly story. It's the statistical proof of the dysfunction. It landed them 15th in the NFC. Basically stuck in the basement of the conference. And for a charter franchise like the Giants, a team with such a proud history, a 4-13 record isn't just a bad season. It's an embarrassment. It's the kind of record that demands accountability from the very top all the way down. This record right here, this is the catalyst. This is the final piece of evidence that proved the Giants didn't just need a new coach. They needed a savior.
So when you need a savior for your franchise, you don't just hire the next guy in line. You go after a legend. And that brings us to the man of the hour, the person the Giants are betting on to cast out the ghosts of seasons past and completely chart a new course for this team, the former head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh. After an unbelievable 18-year run in Baltimore, Harbaugh suddenly became available, and you better believe the Giants treated his candidacy with the all-out urgency it deserved.
Okay, so the second John Harbaugh hit the open market, it wasn't really a job search. It was more like a bidding war. A feeding frenzy. You had teams like the Atlanta Falcons, the Tennessee Titans, the Arizona Cardinals, all of them lining up, making their pitch, trying to land the biggest prize on the coaching market. This wasn't a coach who was desperate for a job. This was a proven winner who was getting to pick his next destination. The Giants knew they couldn't sit back and wait. They had to be aggressive. They had to be decisive. It was even reported they brought their star quarterback Jackson Dart into the final meeting to help sell Harbaugh on what the future in New York could look like.
So what was it that sealed the deal for the Giants front office? Well, team president John Mara's statement tells you everything. He says that after interviewing an outstanding group of candidates, Harbaugh stood out for 2 very specific words: conviction and vision.
Now think about what that means. It tells you they weren't just hiring a guy to call plays. They were hiring an architect. They saw a leader who had an unshakable blueprint for how to build a winning program, someone with a clear, defined philosophy on everything from how you practice to who you draft, a complete top-to-bottom plan to restore this franchise to glory. And then you have the Giants chairman, Steve Tisch, who doubles down on that idea, but he focuses on what you see on the field on Sunday. His keywords: disciplined, resilient, and prepared. Now think back to that 4-13 record. Think about all those sloppy penalties, the mental errors, the second half collapses. Those three words, disciplined, resilient, and prepared, are the direct antidote to the poison that was killing the 2025 Giants. Tisch is basically saying out loud that Harbaugh's core identity as a coach is the exact medicine for this team's most obvious sickness.
And finally, here's the man himself. In his very first statement, you see Harbaugh show his deep respect for the Giants' long history, but then he immediately, and I mean immediately, pivots to the future. He says, "I'm excited to begin assembling our staff and getting to work. It's no nonsense, it's all business. He's not here to talk, he's here to work." And he also took a moment to sincerely thank the Ravens organization for 18 incredible years, which shows a lot of class. He's acknowledging the foundation of his career before turning his full, undivided attention to the massive job he's got ahead of him in New York.
Okay, so we've heard the excitement from the players, we've heard the justification from the owners, but is all this confidence really deserved? I mean, what makes everyone so sure that John Harbaugh is the guy, the answer to all the Giants' problems? Well, the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. And his resume? It's not just good. It's a nearly 2-decade-long masterclass in how to achieve and sustain excellence in the most competitive sports league on the planet. For 18 seasons, the Baltimore Ravens under John Harbaugh were a rock, a pillar of consistency. Now you have to remember, the NFL is literally designed for parity. The draft, the salary cap, it's all built to prevent dynasties. It's nearly impossible. And yet, Harbaugh kept his team in the playoff hunt year after year after year. His time in Baltimore is basically a textbook case study on how to build and, maybe more importantly, how to maintain a winning culture. Through different quarterbacks, different coordinators, different generations of players, he kept that standard of excellence as the organization's DNA. Let's just talk about some hard numbers for a second. In those 18 years with Baltimore, Harbaugh's teams won 180 regular season games. Just take a second and really process that number. That averages out to 10 wins per season, every single year, for almost 2 decades straight. That level of sustained success is almost unheard of in the modern NFL. It means navigating bad draft picks, major injuries to star players, and constantly evolving schemes on both sides of the ball, and still finding a way to put a competitive, winning team on the field. That number, 180, it represents a mountain of success. And here's another number for you. A career winning percentage of .616. In a league that is built to drag every single team back to .500, that number is absolutely staggering. What it means is, for almost 20 years, his teams won more than 6 out of every 10 games they played. This isn't just a hot streak. It's not a lucky run with one superstar quarterback. This is the statistical fingerprint of an elite head coach whose system, whose leadership, consistently produces wins no matter what the circumstances are. This timeline really shows you the whole story of his success in Baltimore. He gets hired back in 2008 and, boom, immediately turns the team into a serious contender. Just 4 years in, he reaches the absolute peak of the sport, holding that Lombardi trophy as a Super Bowl champion. But here's the key. He doesn't just coast on that win. In 2019, more than a decade into his job, he completely rebuilt his offense around a new quarterback, wins Coach of the Year, and leads the team to the best record in their franchise's history. His success wasn't just one moment. It was a sustained pattern of adapting and achieving excellence over and over again. I mean, just look at this resume. This is exactly what has the entire Giants organization buzzing with hope. 18 seasons as a head coach in the NFL is like an eternity. A Super Bowl ring puts you in a very, very rare club. 12 playoff appearances, that means his teams were relevant and dangerous 2/3 of the time he was there. And 13 playoff victories, that proves he wins when the lights are the absolute brightest. When you just look at this list, you get why the Giants made this move. This wasn't a gamble. This was a blue chip investment in a proven, guaranteed commodity. Which brings us right back around to where we started. We kicked this off with Cam Skattebo's excited, all-caps declaration of a new era. And now we can see exactly why he feels that way. The hiring of John Harbaugh connects a legacy of proven, undeniable, consistent success directly to a franchise that was starving for a reason to hope again.
This move isn't just about trying to win a few more games next season, it's about trying to redefine the entire next decade of New York Giants football. Yeah, this is about so much more than just drawing up new plays. This move sends a message to every single person in that building, from the star quarterback to the person who does the laundry, that the old way of doing things is officially over. A cultural reset means changing the daily habits. It means raising the level of accountability in the locker room, in practice, in the film room. It means rewiring the entire collective mindset of the organization. It's about instilling the unwavering belief that winning isn't just possible, it's expected. That is the kind of deep, foundational change the Giants were so desperate for. And this right here gets to the absolute heart of why a player like Skattebo is so fired up. Young players, they want to be coached hard. They want to get better. They want to be put in a position where they can succeed. And John Harbaugh's entire career is built on player development. He is known for building these elite, cohesive coaching staffs that are amazing teachers. This directly attacks one of the biggest failures of the Giants' recent past, where it felt like player development just stalled out. The optimism is real because they know a leader is now in place who can help every single player on that roster reach their absolute maximum potential.
And so, that leaves us with the big question, the million-dollar question. The Giants have landed their guy. They got the proven winner, the culture builder, with one of the most incredible resumes in all of football. The hope in New York is real, you can feel it. But in the brutal, cutthroat, ultra-competitive world of the NFL, is one coach, even a coach as great as John Harbaugh, going to be enough to truly bring about that new era that the players and the fans are so desperately craving? I guess only time is going to tell. But we want to know what you think. Is this the move that finally turns the Giants around? Is Harbaugh the answer? Drop your take in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, do us a favor and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to NFL Nexus for more deep dives like this one. Finally, if you're looking for a fun way to help support the channel, check out our football coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, and hey, even for adults. You can find the link right down in the description or just scan the QR code that's on your screen now. Thanks for watching.